But we're going to find out this guy's paid a lot of people for influencers. Like
Oh yeah,
he bought various bloggers off.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I
I'm
mean, yeah,
happy. I never. There's no photograph of me with him. I'm
yeah,
very happy.
good. I don't want to see one. That's good because yeah, it was something around 70 million to the Democrats. But I'm on the same page as you. I'm really curious what he paid to media. I mean, Kevin O'Leary was on CNBC a couple days ago talking about his $15 million check, and then saying he'd kind of, he'd support the guy in the future. And it's like, what are you talking about? I think there's like a big sum, and I wonder if that's why he was getting this white glove treatment from the media across the board. I found it very curious.
It's very very weird, but we know that places like CNBC, they're giving law balls to him.
Most people would be perplexed if they heard that a corporation worth $32 billion could go bankrupt in a couple of hours. That's the question on everyone's mind since FTX, the second largest cryptocurrency exchange, filed for bankruptcy and lost its CEO. As a result of this major scandal, many questions remain unanswered, and a thorough investigation will be necessary to get to the bottom of them. However, we know that FTX had used about $10 billion of its resources to bail out its sister company, Alameda, and that this has caused the already depressed cryptocurrency market to drop even further. As a result, many people are curious about how this decline may affect the crypto trading market. Welcome back to this episode in Market Empire. Before a crypto enterprise worth $1 billion crumbled on November 11, Sam Bankman-Fried was the darling of many U.S. lawmakers. After FTX filed for bankruptcy, U.S. officials detained the SBF in the Bahamas on charges of money laundering, misuse of client funds, and violation of U.S. campaign finance laws related to illegal donations to U.S. politicians. It has been alleged that during the 2021-2022 U.S. election cycle, SBF and other top FTX executives donated approximately $70 million to politicians in the United States. With a nearly $39 million gift, SBF was recognized as the fourth big donor for the 2022 midterm elections. John Ray III, the new head of FTX, has promised to institute a system to receive refunds from elected officials as part of the company's restructuring. After the U.S. Department of Justice announced on Wednesday night that former FTX and Alameda senior executives Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang had pled guilty to fraud and were cooperating with authorities, the FTX scandal took a dramatic turn as the plane carrying the former head of both firms took off from the Bahamas. Ellison, the former CEO of Alameda Research and a co-founder of FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried, was found guilty and sentenced to probation in a short video announcement by U.S. Attorney Damian Williams on Wednesday night. Fraud charges against Ms. Ellison and Mr. Wang have resulted in their guilty pleas, and both are now cooperating with the Southern District of New York. According to the SEC, Ellison has repeatedly manipulated the price of FTX's own FTT token since 2019, while Bankman-Fried and Wang, according to the SEC, improperly diverted FTX consumer assets to Alameda. According to the SEC's allegations, Ellison and Wang played important roles in the plot to defraud FTX's investors. Wang wrote the programming for FTX that allowed Alameda to steal money from the exchange, and Ellison used the stolen money to finance the company's trading operations. The SEC stated that Bankman-Fried, with the assistance of Ellison and Wang, placed hundreds of millions of dollars more in FTX account holders in Alameda after it became apparent that Alameda and FTX could not make customers whole. Frank Holmes, CEO of U.S. Global Investors, discusses SBF's bribery of politicians and the media in an appearance on The Jay Martin Show. Holmes claims that the bribes resulted in a more favorable media portrayal of SBF and subsequently favorable policy decisions.
Well, I think that it's very political, and
Okay.
we've seen a lot of people didn't realize how much money he gave to both parties, but predominantly the Democrat Party. And his mother and father are professors legal and law at Stanford, and they're very big in raising money for the Democrat Party. So if most of the Beltway agencies are Democrat, and he gave all this money, I think $5 million to the White House, He was the biggest funder going into this midterm elections. So people are going to give him that. I think that that's what's going to happen. And the person that turns on him was the guy that gave money to the Republicans, but he only gave it to Republicans that were pro the crypto space. So it's political. Both parties, I don't know how it's going to resolve itself, and you just hope there's going to be justice that will prevail. And that's all I hope, because he's a real psychopath. This is a psychopath, and I was told by my lawyers are telling me that it creates value for old guys like me. If there was nothing with white hair around him giving guidance about volatility, corporate governance, risk management, and he's above all that. And one of the things is that I had no interest in meeting him when I saw him on a picture and an interview on stage with Prime Minister Tony Blair and President Bill Clinton in shorts and flip-flops, like he's above them. He's above them. And to me, it was just disrespectful. I don't care he went to MIT and his parents were at Stanford. I just found it was just disrespectful to incredible leaders of the world. So other people jumped all over to he promised $15 million to one guy, $5 million to another to write all these good stories about him and promote. That's that's not ending. The influencers and who's an influencer, the regulatory world's going to go after that. But I think that the crypto space, it's very challenged, not only with characters like him and the high leverage of all these exchanges and shadow banks, I like to call them, like Celsius and Voyager. That's we're a quasi bank when they're not, because there's no controls and capital controls. I think they'll all get washed out, and I think what will come out of it will be sort of positive and constructive, because blockchain's not going away, and digital decentralized assets are not going away. And so I remain positive long term. And Hive, Hive has been still the most efficient miner of all the crypto miners. I'm very proud of it. I'm surprised that some have market caps the same or bigger than us, and we make 9 times they did last quarter in EBITDA. Last year we did 10 million. Bitcoin was much higher, and Ethereum we did 10 million in revenue per employee. Goldman Sachs is $1 million. Royalty companies like Franco-Nevada, so we get 34 million in revenue per employee. They're the darlings for efficiency ratio. But I think that all these crypto miners, which started out of Vancouver, there's good structure, good discipline. All the CEOs of the miners are very mature. They're much more sophisticated than when Hive first went public. And so I think that industry, I think we need more professionalism in all these guys that hang their hats as being exchanges or shadow banks or whatever they're doing. There has to be greater credibility put in there. But we're going to find out this guy's paid a lot of people for influencers. Like he bought various bloggers off.
Well, I mean,
there's no photograph of me with him. I'm very
good. I don't want to see one. That's good, because it was something around 70 million to the Democrats, but I'm on the same page as you. I'm really curious what he paid to media. I mean, Kevin O'Leary was on CNBC a couple of days ago talking about his $15 million check, and then saying he'd kind of, he'd support the guy in the future. And it's like, what are you talking about? I think there's like a big sum, and I wonder if that's why he was getting this white glove treatment from the media across the board. I found it very curious.
It's very, very weird, but we know that places like CNBC, they're giving lob balls to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bloomberg's giving lob balls to him, and so that's the difficulty you see. But there's no doubt he's harmed this industry significantly.
This genuine collapse has shown us that just because FTX is the second largest cryptocurrency exchange does not indicate that trading and storing cash on this exchange is completely secure. What do you think of Frank Holmes' interview and the video as a whole? Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel.